tomatoes are in clusters. This is, whoops. This is like this throughout all of the tomato plants. And this is one of the things that's kind of amazing this year for me, is that oftentimes when you garden organically, you don't get the same yield that you would if you were using commercial fertilizers, nitrogen-based fertilizers. But this year we've got the soil chemistry just right. Everything is super happy and it's producing these incredibly healthy plants that are vigorous and really are going to give us tons and tons of food.
Nah.
Here's a sneak peek at what the chocolate stripe is going to end up looking like. You can see the variegation in here. Do you see this golden kind of sparkle on the vine? Isn't that beautiful? It's like fairy dust on the tomato plant. So I want to talk to you a little bit about companion planting. Companion planting is something that organic gardeners do that is kind of unique and really fun and incredibly utilitarian, really. Going all the way back to the Native Americans, a lot of people have heard about the Three Sisters planting, where you plant corn and then you plant beans so that the beans grow up the corn stalks, because beans need something to grab onto, pole beans do, and then you plant squash around the outside of that because the squash can then spread out, protect the ground from weeds and other little animals coming in to eat up your plants. And I have a couple of examples of companion planting over here in this row over here. So mixed into this one row, I think it's pretty obvious that you can see the tomato plants. What might not be as obvious is that interspersed throughout, I also have some pole beans. I don't know if you can get a good look at this, but do you see how the pole beans just grab onto whatever they can and grow right up? So it grows up the tomato stakes, it grows up the tomato plants also. And in this same row, but just around on the other side, we're going to sneak over here real quick. I have some squash planted. Ooh, incidentally, here are some of the gigantic marigolds that I love so much. So yeah, the squash, everything can share the space as long as the soil is really, really healthy and you keep it weed-free and disease-free.
Is there any squashes in there?
I did see one this morning, but I don't see it now. Maybe somewhere else. Let's go look at the cucumbers. 3 different kinds of cucumbers are planted this year. One really unique kind is called a Chinese yellow cucumber. Let me give you a little sneak peek here. It's supposed to look like this. Some of them get pretty big, about this big, and the really super firm, crisp flesh, yummy kind of tiny hint of lemon on the inside. People are kind of wowed by these. You can pick them when they're young and still bright green, by the way. And then over here, if we step just a little ways, completely different kind of cucumber altogether, more along the lines of an English cucumber with fewer seeds on the inside. And the softer flesh is this telegraph. Isn't that incredible? It's great. And there are tons of tiny little babies. Pretty soon we're going to be overwhelmed with cucumbers. That is not a bad problem to have. So anyway, I have lots of zucchini and yellow squash in through here, a couple of different varieties, just the regular quick neck squash, and then, ooh, one fun thing I wanted to grab real quick is something called a lemon squash. Look at this cutie pie. The name is pretty self-explanatory. Just another fun summer squash. Okay, real quick, I've got one more garden patch to show you. Decided to do corn this year. So Stuart's gonna turn right around. You ready? You don't need to film me.
Okay.
So 3 rows of corn this year. And I guess we'll just see. I've never grown corn successfully before. I only ever tried just once and it was a bit of a failure. But I'm hopeful. Everything seems to be thriving this year. So it looks like I need to get in here and thin these out a little bit. But we'll check back in late September with you guys and let you know how it worked out. I just wanted to show you, you don't have to take up 1/4 of an acre of garden space to start growing your own vegetables. You can start by taking one pot, put one plant in it, and have just a few fresh pieces of food that you can start with. And once you get success on a small scale, and once you create a little space of time in your life, you can grow your garden accordingly. But for years, I just planted out of pots. Probably for 3 or 4 years. You can grow just about anything in a pot. So you don't have to be large scale to start feeding yourself. And the one really fantastic thing about doing your own gardening, you have control over the varieties that you want to grow. You have control over how you grow them. So not everybody gardens organically, obviously, because a lot of people think that it's more difficult. When in reality, once you get some of the basic principles down of keeping your soil really healthy, the healthy soil creates healthy plants that in and of themselves are resistant to disease and tolerant of a little damage from pests. And it becomes, I think, easier than gardening conventionally with the regimen of pesticides and herbicides and nitrogen-based fertilizers that you have to constantly be keeping up with, or the plants sort of don't produce. So anyway, there's my plug for organic gardening in terms of the ease of it. And most people know by now that it's healthier for us. Chemical-free and actually scientifically proven that the food grown organically has more nutrients in it. But anyway, I'm getting off my soapbox now. Thank you so much for joining me on my garden tour, and we'll see you next time.